Ross Dennett, and he's going to come in and do the class. So we're doing it as a bit of a class in its own, in a proper timing, and there won't be overly a lot of instructions like the other videos, but I'm hoping that you'll go back onto them and check on things when you come into this, a little bit more of a flowing sequence. So I've got Ross coming in, and he's been really good too. Haven't you, Ross?
I have been a good boy, Ross.
So I'm going to be teaching the class, and Ross is going to be participating in the class. So we're going to start off in Virasana on the floor. So we're going to be kneeling and coming into Virasana. So this is in proper timings. So Ross will be holding them into the proper amount of time. So he'll be extending forward and slowly taking his head down. So what we're looking for in this pose again is that you have dynamic arms, strong, straight, and that when you come down that you check on the positioning of your hands and feet and make sure your hands are the width of your shoulders. Focusing on just a long, slow, steady breath, elongating the spine and reaching all the way to the crown of the head. Maintaining the concave upper back, so moving the back in, the skin in, the clothing should feel a bit loose on the back and the chest is open. Remembering if you have any issues with knees and you can't kneel, you can have your props underneath your buttocks or work with problems with the feet with a blanket underneath the feet. So from here, we're going to tuck the toes under, and then we're going to come into Adho Mukha Svanasana, the dog pose, down facing dog. So again, as we're holding this position, we're just going to warm up a little bit into it. So I'm going to get Ross to lift his heels up, and then this gives some space to work with. So as he lifts his heels up, he's going to move again the thoracic in. Similar feeling to Virasana, so long through the spine, long through the arms, but quite relaxed through the head. But getting into the legs now, so turning the thighs in, drawing the knees up, and moving the front of the leg to the back of the leg. And then on his next breath, he's going to keep the height of the hip. So the hip is really high, like the top of a mountain, as you slowly squeeze the heels down. Now, even though you may be focused on your heels, your whole focus is not just there. It's about working the whole leg and also the whole foot into the floor. So to work the whole foot a little bit better into the floor, we're going to focus a little bit on the foot. So I'm going to get Ross to lift his toes up a little bit. And as he lifts his toes up, it helps to get more weight through the whole of the foot. So he's going to start to really stretch from the calf to the heel, and then from the ball of the foot back to the heel. So the foot is really starting to come down, just like the hands. And then you can release the toes down. The hands, of course, are also pressing evenly into the ground. The fingers are spreading and particularly pressing down through the pad of the thumb. So really getting that part of the palm down. Trying not to force, just keeping a sense of relaxation through the head and neck, and again the long, slow, steady breaths. Now from here, we're going to do the forearm dog pose, and we'll be using a strap and brick. So we're going to come down onto our knees and get our strap, which is going to be shoulder width apart, and then the brick. As I said previously, the purpose of those straps and bricks are to hold those arms and hands into alignment, which then opens up the shoulders correctly. So I'm going to get Ross to hold the brick sideways, as this is the beginner way to do it. So we're holding the brick and we've got the brick up there. We're going to extend through the fingers and pull the thumbs up. Bringing the forearms down to the floor, and then inhale, lift up, In the beginning, we're just going to look towards the brick and really lifting the shoulders. So remembering that we don't want the shoulders over, toppling over, and then collapsing through the shoulders. So the shoulders can be either above the elbow or slightly behind, and really lifting up through the shoulders here, lifting the trapezius, lifting the waist, and then keep looking to the brick. The temptation, so I'll get him to bring his weight forward, so still looking to the brick. This is all about strength, lifting through the waist, and we're not really worried about the legs at the moment, so just getting that lift. And then the next part of this is where we're stretching, so we're going to let the head relax, and then lifting up again out of the waist, lifting the hips up, and then slowly starting to stretch back. So taking the weight back into the legs, which is really difficult because, again, the shoulders need to really open up, and that's why it's such a wonderful pose to practice. At the same time, continually pressing the forearm down into the floor, so it's lengthening along the blade of the arm. And we're pulling the thumbs up because that helps to open the palms, and we're pressing into the brick. And all this is activating the arms, activating the lift of the shoulders. And the other part of the body we're lifting up is the inner leg. So the inner leg, all the way from here, is lifting up to help to take our weight back. Then from here, we'll release, come back down to Ardha Mukha, stretching forward, releasing the strap. And taking the head down. Still working the arms, so we're not collapsing the arms. It's an active pose. Keeping the neck long, reaching into the crown of the head. Directing the weight back, so not everything is going forward. So we're moving the tailbone down and the pelvis is rolling forward, the thoracic's moving in, and the inside arms turning out, so shoulder blades spreading and moving in. Then coming up into the down facing dog again, so tucking the toes under and then stretching back into the dog pose, and you'll probably notice that you're much more open. But again, getting the sense of lifting, even though the hands are grounding, using the grounding of the hands, the grounding of the feet to lift out of, so lifting the whole arm up and out, lifting the trunk out of the shoulder girdle, lifting the pelvis, buttocks up, hamstrings lifting, calves going down, the whole of the foot in the ground. Again, just gentle, slow breaths. You're not trying to change or fiddle with your breath, just have a gentle breath, a natural breath, but of course it is a little bit slower. Using this time in the pose to work on the areas of the body that are a little bit dull, they're not quite opening, and really trying to direct your attention there, being more reflective. Then from here we're going to walk our hands back towards the feet. So as we're walking our hands back, we're still dynamically working the legs, and then we'll take a hold of the legs and concave the back. So we come into a concave back. Now, even though it's concave, we're still dynamic, so the arms are strong and there's a gentle pulling sensation, and the shoulders are pulling back, and then we're getting this extension through here. You know, the sternum's going forward, the hips are directly over the heels. Now, people with problematic backs can stay in that position. The other people can now exhale and then fold up. So they're just going to widen their elbows and slowly take the head down. So we're not trying to pull the head in too strongly, just getting the sense of the crown of the head moving down. And again, using the arms to help get into the spinal action. Again, calm face, soft eyes, just relaxed breath. Then we're going to get ready to come up. So we'll be coming up, so we'll concave the back again, straighten the arms, and then we're going to slowly release and come up, just sliding the arms up the legs, and then stretching the arms fully up, all the way up into Urdhva Hastasana. We'll just look straight ahead. Now remember that we can have the hands apart or the hands together depending on us as individuals, what's going on through our bodies. So in this pose, remember we don't want to stick the ribs out, so we're keeping the floating ribs in, keep turning the thighs in, keeping the tailbone down, just like we do in Tadasana. Then we'll exhale, release the arms down, and we'll come to face the front with ourselves in Tadasana. So standing into Tadasana, shoulders back and down, arms straight and strong, legs straight and strong, even weight through the feet. Reaching toward the top of the head and getting a sense of the spine lifting, like climbing a ladder vertebra by vertebra up as you ground down through your feet. So as you stand in your feet, lift out of your feet. Then we're going to get ready to extend the arms out to the side and then bring the fingertips together and then jumping out for our first lateral stretch of Utthita Trikonasana. So we're going to hold the arms up horizontally to start with. Now the shoulders are rolling back, we're still doing all our Tadasana actions, drawing the knees up. This is again a really good one to start with because it's all about strength as well. So lifting the sternum, put the shoulders down, relaxed, and getting the extension all the way through the arms. Then turning the left foot in, turning the right foot out, even weight through the feet, and then extending out to the side and coming into Trikonasana. So as we hold Trikonasana, we're again evenly working through the feet, and we're also thinking of that parallel plane. So tailbone moving towards the left heel, the head moving this direction. And so there's a lot of working through the legs, so pulling the thigh muscles up and slightly lifting out of the root of that right thigh, drawing the abdominal wall back, and then coming up. Then we go the other side, right foot in, left foot out. Then exhale, going down into Trikonasana on the left side. So when we get to the other side, tuning in to any differences. So again, the shoulder releasing back, keeping the neck long, and if you have any neck problems, turning your head and looking forward. If you have real bad neck problems, looking straight down, like that. Stretching the waist out evenly and working evenly through the feet. Then on the inhale, coming up, turning to the front. The next pose is Pavarita Trikonasana. So again, using the grip like I showed you on the previous videos if you need to, or if you don't, just using your hand to the floor or hand on the leg, and also if you can't take your arm up, you'll be keeping your hand on the hip. So taking your breath, inhale, and then exhale, turning around to face, and if Ross is going to go down and do the full pose, and exhale, grounding down through the feet, taking the hand down, and then extending the arm up. So constantly working this back thigh back, keeping the arm on that vertical plane, and remember to really draw the right hip back and left a little forward as that allows the waist to come forward and moving that thoracic in. As you're holding it, you're constantly moving around the body, checking in. So when you do choose to come up on your inhale, make sure that you're very mindful of your weight through your feet as you come up. We'll go to the next side. And then it will be with an exhalation, turning around, taking the hand down, and then extending the arm up. That's it. So, as you can see, a different view, really thinking of pulling this left hip forward. This enables this whole part of the trunk. But simultaneously, you've got to hit that right thigh bone back as well as the hip, which is slightly moving a little to the midline of the body. Thoracic moving in, and the crown of the head coming this direction. So when you go to come up, remember to come up with stability and coming up to the front, and then we'll jump our feet back to Tadasana. So we're going to do passive Uttanasana, so taking the feet hip width apart, then taking a breath inhale, raising the arms up and folding the arms. And then with the breath, exhale, release and coming down. So remember that if you cannot do this one because of back problems, you would concave the back. So using this passive Uttanasana to come back in a little bit, to bring a little bit of rest. It doesn't mean that you're losing your attention and becoming dull. It's still there. Attention is still there. We'll be getting ready to come up. So remember, if you don't have any issues with your back, you can keep your arms folded and come up with a concave back. Extending the arms up and then out to the side. We're going to bring our feet back together. And we'll jump out again, ready for Utthita Parshvakonasana. So jumping out. Turning the left foot in and the right foot out. Inhale, open the chest. Exhale, bending the right leg. So bending the right leg, taking the hand down to your option of the floor or on the brick. And then making sure you have the square leg. Constantly working the back leg. Extending the arm up if you don't have any issues with the shoulders and rotating the arm over. So you're really wanting to get this line. You can see this line going all the way from here. So it's like from here, reaching out, so it's a lateral extension and turning the chest up. So there's a lot of work on that back leg. Getting ready to come up. So coming up on the inhale. On the exhale, right foot in, left foot out. Then exhale, bending the left leg, reaching long through the left waist, taking the hand down. Really strongly working the back foot, so weight to the outer edge of the back foot and to the inner edge of the front foot as you take that arm over. Opening the chest, which is happening a lot from opening up the pelvis first. And again, which that is happening from really working from the legs and then the feet. So it's really from the feet that helps you to open your chest up. Getting ready to come up. Parvarita Parshvakonasana. So we'll be turning the left foot in and then we'll be turning the right foot out. But this time, the left foot's coming in a little bit deeper, so 60 degrees, and then we're turning the hips all the way around. We're going to be lifting the back foot off the floor, so that the back heel is lifting up. We're not worried about taking it. Parvarita Parshvakonasana. So turning the left foot in, turning the right foot out, and then turning all the way around to the right. So the left foot's turning 60 degrees, Once we've turned all the way around to the right, we've lifted the back heel off the floor, and then we're going to exhale and then bend that right leg and take the left knee to the floor. From here, we'll take the left hand onto the outside of the right knee, the right hand onto the hip, then lifting tall and slowly turning to the right. Then either remaining there for the first variation or to the second stage, left arm going down, either with the hand on the floor or onto your brick. Right hand onto the hip or waist. Turning the abdominal area to the right, moving the thoracic in and taking the back of the head back. Then slowly straightening the leg or remaining on that second stage. Either keeping the hand on the hip or extending the arm vertically stretching up. Then rotating the arm and then reaching the arm over. That would be the final stage. Of course, the real final stage would be having the back heel on the floor, but we're just keeping the back heel up. As you're holding the position, you're constantly checking in on that squareness of that leg, that you're retaining that you're moving the thoracic in, and your breath will not be as easy with the twist, so it's normal to have a bit of a shallow breath. We'll come up and inhale. Exhale, right foot in, left foot out. Then rotating the back heel, the whole of the back hip, and then exhale, taking the right knee down, and then from here we're coming to the first stage, so taking the back of your left hand onto the back of the outside of the left knee, the hand to the hip. Then from here, slowly sliding the arm down, maintaining the squareness of that leg, either placing the hand onto the brick or to the floor. Hand on the hip or the waist. Remaining in the second stage, or else coming to the next stage, which is straightening the leg, and then extending the arm up and over. So with this, taking the arm over, we're lifting up. We need to really move the thoracic in, and then we're rotating, so we release the shoulder back. So this is moving back this way. Back leg strong and straight. Holding, as you're holding, you're constantly working in it, readjusting. It's like reposing, reposing, reposing. Getting ready to come up now. So coming up on the inhale and turning to the front. We're now going to jump back, Tadasana. Coming back into passive Uttanasana with the opposite folding of the arms. Again, a resting pose, I use this to rest. It doesn't mean that everything is dull. You're still dynamically working the legs and you're reaching a little into the elbows. The upper back is not too convex, trying to keep a bit of concavity to the upper back. Then we're going to get ready to come up on the inhale. Feet together, Tadasana. Virabhadrasana 1. Jumping out. Remember the distance is at least 1.5 meters. Rotating the arms and then slowly raising the arms up on the inhale, and then on the exhale, turning the left foot in again, very deep, and turning all the way around to the right. So remember, we're rotating the whole of that back leg. So we're really turning, turning, turning. This hip is coming around, right hip coming back, and lifting up through the waist. Really moving this thoracic in as we exhale and slowly bend the right leg. So as we bend the leg, we're moving this part of our back in and really lifting up strong. So I'm going to get Ross to bend a little bit more.
I was going to come up.
Well, no, he's going to stay there and just bend a little bit more. So he's just taking the sit bone of that right leg down a little bit more, just to bring that knee more above the heel, which is obviously a little bit more challenging, but that's much better. Inhale, coming up. Right foot in, left foot out. Then on the next exhalation, bending the left leg. So as you're bending the left leg, you're ascending the spine. You're ascending the arms are strong. They help you to stay in that pose. Bending the leg a little bit more, rolling that right hip a little bit more forward, drawing the left hip back a little bit. Coming up, turning to the front and extending the arms out to the side and back down. Good. Virabhadrasana 2. Left foot in, right foot out, arms up across first. Then exhale, bending the right leg. So as we bend the right leg, we're very strongly reaching into the back arm. As I said in the previous video, it's like taking the outside of this left hip down and lifting the outside of the right hip up. Drawing the abdominal wall back and turning the head, but keeping the chest square to the front. Coming up on the inhale, on the exhale, right foot in, left foot out. Then as we're bending the leg, we're tracking that knee directly to where that knee and foot is facing. Rear arm up, tends to drop a little bit. So really reaching back into that rear arm. And then inhale, coming up. And stepping the feet back together. They're really very taxing, those two, especially when done together with the arms up. So the sequence is now going into the forward bends, and you'll feel the great relief when you come to that. So now we're going to go into Parshvottanasana. So arms out to the side, fingertips together, jumping out. The distance is not as wide as the warrior poses. Then taking the arms behind the back in your preferred position, dependent on, like I was explaining in the other videos, we had different choices. So either coming into Namaste, or folded arms, or holding at the wrist. Once you've got your hands in position, then turning your left foot in, turning your right foot out, and then turning all the way around. So again, the rotation of the hips is happening from circularizing that back leg around. Inhale, lift the chest, take the shoulders back, and then exhale, coming forward. As you're coming forward, you're drawing your right hip up and back, your left hip a little forward and down. You're maintaining even weight into the feet. The tendency is to bring your weight to the outer blade of that right foot. So can you bring it more to the inner edge? Can you bring a little bit more weight to the outer edge of the left foot as you maintain your Tadasana legs? Coming up on the inhale, on the exhale, right foot in, left foot out. If you have different arm variations, you would be swapping them over. Inhale, lift the chest, take the head back a little bit, not to the point of any strain. As you take your head back, really release your shoulder blades down and your shoulders back and down. Then exhale, as you come forward, draw your left hip a little up and back, and your right hip a little forward and down to be level. Being attentive to weighting down through the inner edge of your left foot, the outer edge of your right foot, to be even. Drawing your thigh muscles up. You can really see here how much this has to really lift for the pelvis to rotate forward. Coming up with the concave back as well. Turning to the front, extending the arms out to the side, and especially if they're in namaste, you need to hold the arms straight just for a little while to adjust so the wrist is not strained. And then stepping the feet back to Tadasana and turning to the front. Prasarita Padottanasana, number 1. So arms out to the side, fingertips together, jumping out. It's a big distance again. Placing the hands onto the hip. Remember, the weight tends to fall on the inside edge of the feet in this pose, so you're trying to put a little bit of weight to the outer edge, but keep pressing down through the mound of the big toe. This will help to lift the inner leg. Inhale, look up, taking the elbows back, and then remember to hinge forward from the hip because it's a forward bend. So as you're hinging forward, you're lifting the buttock up, you're lifting the hamstring up, coming forward and taking the hands onto the floor, either under your shoulders or back further between the feet if you have more movement. Concave the back. It's important that you maintain the concave back. So in the concave back, you address that your legs are straight, that your hips are in line with your heels, and you're getting that extension and lift through the spine before you commit to the forward bend. So then on the exhale, bending the arms. As you bend the arms, taking the head down. Elbows pointing back towards the wall behind you. As the elbows point back, draw the shoulders up so the shoulders are not falling into the neck. Strong, straight legs. It would be better, as I explained earlier, that to have the hands on blocks rather than bend the knees, so you can have your hands up on your blocks if you can't reach the floor. If you have back pain, please keep your back concave. Don't go into the forward bend. Coming up on the inhale, and then jumping back to Tadasana. We're now going to go into Uttanasana again, but actively. So we'll take the feet hip width apart. We'll then raise the arms up over Hastasana. Then we'll exhale, concave, and coming forward, taking the hands onto the back of the legs or onto blocks. Lengthen the spine, and then exhale, folding up. If you can't fold up, then you would just remain on your blocks or your concave in the back. Then coming up on the inhale. And then coming back to Tadasana. We're now going to come onto the floor and we're going to do some forward bends and then some twists. So grabbing what you need, a blanket if you need for your forward bends, and if you need a strap as well. So we're starting off with Janu Shishasana, Paschimottanasana, that's the Sanskrit name. But before we go into the forward bend, Janu Shishasana, so we're bending the right leg. As we take the leg back, we bring the right foot to the inside of the thigh with the soles of the foot slightly turned up. We'll take the hands beside us and lift up tall. And then inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, coming forward. So as we're coming forward, we remember that we're trying to roll the pelvis forward and lengthen the spine. It's like the spine is coming out of the pelvis. Then we concave the back and use that dynamic action to draw the pelvis more forward and extend more forward and up. Maintaining that length, we'll then slowly start to come forward. Remembering, if you can't come forward, remain concave if you have problematic back, or use your strap. Soft breath, soft eyes. No strain or force. Changing sides. Right leg straight, left leg bent. Remember to pull the flesh of the buttock back so you're sitting more to the sitting bones. We're using the blanket to help you to come up onto your sitting bones and to give you more height and more lift. Remember, if you have more problems in the back or a lot of stiffness in the legs, get on more height. Inhale, raise the arms up, and then exhale, coming forward. Then inhale, concave, exhale, going forward. As you're holding, you're working the leg down. But again, if you cannot get a straight leg, make sure you use your strap. Inhale, look up, concave, and then exhale, release. Paschimottanasana. Dandasana. Then inhale, stretching the arms up. Then exhale, rolling the pelvis forward, taking hold of the feet, and concave back. So in the concave, you're learning to move the pelvis forward, to draw the spine forward and up. The shoulders are back, the arms are quite dynamic, as well as the legs. Maintaining the concave back if you have problematic back, or exhale, widening both arms. So we're using the arms sideways. You'll notice that the elbows are a little out to the side because it helps to bring a lot of length to the side of the trunk. So it's not just that you're stretching forward just through the back, that you're trying to stretch the whole of the trunk forward in balance, front, back and sides. Inhale, release coming up, and then sitting up, Dandasana. So now we're going to turn around so that we're going to do Upavishwakonasana. And for this one, a lot of you will probably need your strap. So we're going to be going forward and then to the side. So on the last video, we just went concave. We didn't actually go forward. So placing the hands behind, taking the legs into a wide position, but not too wide, where the legs are bending. The legs should feel safe, grounded and strong into the mat. Using the hands on the floor and the grounding of the legs to lift the spine up. Then inhale, raise the arms up. And then exhale, coming forward, just taking the hands in front as you dynamically stretch the legs. And once again, concaving. Grounding the legs, lifting the sternum, shoulders back and down. Some of you may only remain at this stage. Others can then proceed to go further as you ground down through the legs, and then exhale, start to go forward to whatever you're able to do without straining. It may take a little bit of time. Watch the feet so that they don't drift. Keep the legs stable and strong into the ground. That's the most important thing. You're constantly pressing down to the sitting bones. They're evenly pressing into the floor. The pelvis is moving forward. The spine is lengthening out. Remember, try not to rush, and if you can go all the way forward, remember, try not to focus on just the head getting down. Maintain the length of the spine and the head just coming to a comfortable place, even if sometimes you rest it down on something. Then we'll inhale and we'll come up. Now, we're going to exhale and then we're going to turn to the right. Now this is where some of you might need a strap. So remember, last time I talked about it's not just that you turn your shoulders and head.
Just press close.
Which one's that?
On the phone at the front.
Hey?
Just on the phone there, it should say closed. Yeah, let's do that.
So we're now turning to the right leg. So we're reaching forward and taking a hold of the feet. Remember that if you can't reach the feet, you're using a strap. So pressing down into the left buttock and turning the waist to the right, inhale concave. Some of you may only remain in that stage. If you're able to go this next stage, you would exhale and then widen the elbows and go forward. Then inhale, coming up, and then sitting up, facing the front again, as we turn to the left. So as we turn to the left, we're turning the pelvis around to face that left leg, we're lifting the chest up, and then we're going to reach forward and take a hold of the left foot. So remember, if we can't reach the foot, we must not bend the legs to get the hands onto the foot. We would use our strap. We must have patience and take our time. You're either remaining in the concave position and just working the legs, grounding the legs and stretching the legs, or else your next stage would be bending the elbows and then slowly going forward. That's why you need to wait. You mustn't go forward straight away. You turn, you sit with it, you reflect a little bit. Then inhale, come up, and then release, and very slowly release the legs back together. Back to Dandasana. Now coming in to Bharavajasana 1, so folding the blanket,
Twisting to the right first.
yep, going to the right side. So, taking the legs out to the left, then we've got the choice I explained last time, whether you take your arms around and hold on to your rear arm, or you have one hand on the knee and the other hand around the waist or onto the floor. So Ross is taking his hand around. So we'll be turning away from the legs and turning to the right. This is an open twist. Then release, and then change to the opposite side. Bharavajasana 1. So exhale, turning to the left. Then coming back to the front. Doing the closed twist now, Marachasana 3. Marachasana 3. So bending the right leg and lifting tall. As I explained previously, there's different variations, so you can start off in the easy stage, which is just wrapping the arms around, and you can build up into your next stages, which would be taking the arm on the outside, or eventually holding the hand behind. So lifting tall, slowly turning, rolling the abdomen to the right. The breath will be a little shallow. Just sit with that, don't panic. Then release, changing legs. So maintain the straight leg, and again turning the waist, bringing the shoulder blades down and in, rolling the shoulder back and down, lifting the chest up. Remember, if you have any problems in your neck, keep your head straight. Don't worry about turning your head. And then release, come forward. Once again, stretch the arms up, Urdhva Hastasana, Dandasana. And then exhale, we'll go forward, Paschimottanasana again. So concave the back on the inhale, and then on the exhale, going forward. Then inhale, coming up. We're going to release the blanket out. We're going to do a little bit of a counter pose. And so we're going to take our hands back, bend our knees, and we're going to do the table pose. It's basically making ourselves like a table. So we're drawing the shoulders back, moving the tailbone in and away from the waist as we slowly lift ourselves up. As we lift up, we want to make sure that our hands are directly under our shoulders, and perhaps walk the feet out a little bit if we need to bring the feet underneath the knees. The neck can be a bit problematic here, so if you can't take your head back, just keep looking forward, but really lifting the pelvis up. So it's really trying to lift this pelvis up and using the power of the arms and legs. This just helps to take the tension out of the back from the forward bends. And it's wonderful for the shoulders and arms. And then we'll exhale, release, come down. Then we'll do the traditional pose, Parivartanasana. So we're going to straighten our legs this time. With this one, the toes are pointing forward and we're going to lift ourselves up. So we slowly lift up again. And there's a really, really strong stretch of the front of the body. So back of the body moving to the front, firming the buttocks, but not clenching them together, but just keeping them active and firm, tailbone towards the heels, and really pulling the trapezius down, shoulder blades down. And then exhale, release, coming down. It's also a great preparation for the next pose, which is Sarvangasana. Salamba Sarvangasana, which is the supported shoulder stand. So we're going to get our blankets ready for the shoulder stand. Now, if you're not going to do the shoulder stand, you can do Viparita Karani, which is legs up the wall, or Setubandha Sarvangasana, which would be on your bolsters, which I've explained in the previous video. So Ross is going to do a shoulder stand, so he's setting his blankets up. So laying down. Now remember that there are some contradictions here, so some people may not be able to take their feet to the floor in Halasana. So they would be able to use a prop such as a chair. So you could have your chair behind you and your feet could go onto the chair. Then other people may not be able to get their feet to the floor, so they would be able to use a bolster, or they could have two bolsters there. So that's all dependent on you, because you're not wanting to strain the body to practice this pose. So we'll exhale and go over to Halasana. And then we'll place the strap on. So remember, the strap is there to hold the arms in alignment, but they should not be narrower than the width of the shoulders. We'll interlock our fingers, take our hands behind and try to bring ourselves onto the chip of the shoulder. So we're trying not to come on the back of the shoulder, so right onto the chip. And if Ross was on the back of the shoulder, I'll demonstrate he'd be like this. So you can see this is lifting off the blanket, but when you're on the top, it's actually releasing down. This helps to open the chest up and to lift the sides of the trunk. Placing the hands into the back, and then coming up into Sarvangasana. Remember that some people can't take both legs up at the same time, so they could take one leg up at a time. The idea in Sarvangasana is to get that vertical lift, and so that's why the blankets are so helpful. So we're going to take our feet hip width apart. As we take our feet hip width apart, we look up through the front of the body, and then we're going to turn the upper thighs in and draw the knees up. So we're coming into our Tadasana leg. We're going to lift the tailbone, lift the pubis, lifting the waist as we ground down through the shoulders and arms, and then slowly we'll bring our legs back together again. As we're holding it, we're not trying to push the chin into the chest, we're just keeping a little bit of space there, softness through the throat, grounding with the arms and reaching from the shoulders to the elbows. We would hold this dependent on the student. If you're new to the pose, you would hold it for a short timing, but if you can, at least a minimum of 3 minutes. One of the problems that can come is when the spine starts to collapse, then the legs start to come over like this. So what happens is it's actually going to put more weight on the neck. So we're attempting to bring the hands more into the back and try to stretch those legs more vertically up, but not at the cost of straining anywhere through the neck and throat. We're now going to get ready to come down, so hinging from the hip and coming back to Halasana, whether your feet are on your chair, on your bolster or on the floor. Having the hands in the back does give a stronger stretch of the neck, so for the more experienced people they are able to leave their hands in their back with their strap on, but for others that are first learning this pose, it would be the better option to have the arms over the head. This is less stretch on the neck, and it's good to get used to doing this first. So even though you're stretching the neck, you need to have a bit of a strong neck as well, so it's a little bit easier with the arms over the head. In Halasana, the legs are very, very active. They're straight, they're in Tadasana, the spine is lifting. And just like you did in Dandasana or Tadasana, the thighs turn in, and in this situation, the thigh bones are lifting up strongly as you press into the balls of the feet. Again, the breath is just natural and soft. You're not trying to fiddle with it or change it, it's just as it is, and how the shape of the body affects the breath, and you're responding to that. The timing of this pose, again, is generally just a little bit shorter than the shoulder stand. Shoulder stand, remember, cannot be practiced by menstruating women, and other contradictions would be vertigo, glaucoma, middle ear infection, severe sinus infection, and high blood pressure is okay under supervision, and low blood pressure is okay under supervision. So we're now going to get ready to come out, so we're going to take the strap off. As I explained in the previous video, everybody will be different in the way they roll out. So some people will be able to roll out with their arms over their head because they have more experience, and others will have to use their hands into their back as a brace. Because of the platform of the blankets, then for people with problematic backs, they may need to have an extra support, which I explained in the previous video, which was the bolster. It's important that you don't rush this stage and don't suddenly just roll out and suddenly straighten your legs, that you take your time. Notice Ross has shuffled back. He's brought his pelvis up onto the blankets. He's just waiting a moment before he straightens his legs, so there is no rush. And by doing this, you can see that the edge of the blanket is really allowing the chest to remain open and the pelvis as well supported. So we're now going to do Shavasana. So I'll be talking you through Shavasana. So we'll be putting our blankets up. Make sure you're warm and comfortable. So putting the effort into Shavasana as it is an asana, and it's really supine Tadasana. So sitting in front of your blanket with your knees bent, and then we're straightening the legs at the end. So we'll have our legs bent, and then we'll start to roll our spine from the base of the spine all the way down, or all the way up, I should say, to the top of the spine. We'll reach back and grab a hold of that blanket. Now the blanket height is pretty important here, so I'm just going to, before Ross straightens his legs, you could see that if your blanket was too low, especially if you had a little bit of tightness on the shoulders, you'll notice the chin comes back a little bit and it's going to be a lot of discomfort here. And then if you had the blanket too high, I'm going to make it really high, like this, you'd find that the chin is coming into the throat, creating tension here and a lot of strain here. So you need to get the right height for you, and then tucking these shoulders back and down. So basically, you want to have this space here, and your forehead is basically on the same plane as the chest. I don't mean the same height, but the same plane. So if your head's like this, then obviously it's not, or it's the other way, it's not. So basically this is your plane here. You want to have sense of softness here, and shoulders releasing, tucking everything down, palms up, and then we'll straighten the legs one at a time. Then gently looking down towards the cheeks and closing the eyes. Taking your time. So softening your facial expression, smoothing the skin between the brows, Releasing any tension in the temples and forehead. Relaxing the cheeks on the bone structure of the face. Relaxing your jaw and releasing your tongue on the lower palate, rather than hitting up on the roof of the mouth, creating tension. The eyes sinking down deep into the sockets with your next exhalation. Softening your throat as you release the tension there, as it releases down inwards to the body. The chest is open. The inside of the arms are slightly turned up as you tuck the shoulders back and down. Rolling the buttocks away from the waist and away from each other as you allow the abdomen to broaden horizontally and to descend down to the lumbar, to the back of the body, just like the throat, just like the eyes on your exhalation. Releasing the legs and extending all the way to the heels as you allow the feet just to release to the side, not to flop. Remember, the legs are in Tadasana, supine Tadasana, but they're relaxed. The feet are just relaxed to the side. As you let the upper thighs descend down. Then coming slowly to your breath. Just allow your breath to be at this point. Long, gentle, slow inhales. Long, gentle, slow exhales. Every exhale, just release and yield down to gravity, down to the ground. As you let go of all your tension everywhere. The breath, as the body starts to surrender and relax and let go, the breath gets a little deeper and slower. Allow your thoughts to be, let them come and go, rather than stopping them or changing them or creating new thoughts. Just watching the thoughts as if from the distance, as if a witness to the breath, a witness to the thoughts, and a witness to the body, as you completely surrender and let go everywhere. slowly coming back to the breath. Without moving, just allow your breath to deepen. As you observe the relaxed state, as if a witness again, without being reactive. Be in that place for a moment. You'll notice your breath quickens and the thoughts rise up. Then taking your time to move a little bit, and then from here rolling over to the right side as you lay on the side for a moment. And then you can get ready to sit yourselves up. Okay, well, thank you, Ross.
Thanks, Ross. That was great.
You liked that, did you? Was it
I did
all right?
like that, yeah.
That's good. I bet you liked the relaxation at the end.
I did, I relaxed.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, and we hope you enjoyed that class. Okay. See ya.